You know I'm a hustler, hustler. You know I'm a hustler, hustler.
Hey, welcome back to another episode of Get Biz, Do Biz, Gets Pay. Today I have Brad Starnes, owner of Screaming Cow Marketing. Uh, we're gonna talk all thing marketing today.
Yeah,
Welcome
let's
to the
do it.
show.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me on. I think you were like the fourth or fifth person that I had on my podcast when we launched months ago. And it's been quite a few months since you and I have connected and all that. So
Yeah, how do you get into marketing, man?
yeah, so this goes back like long ago. I was actually like in high school, and my aunt owned an agency that was like designing websites and brochures and everything for a bunch of like corporate companies. So I just got like kind of involved in that, and then throughout the years, what I've done is kind of evolved. I've always been out there working with others small businesses, got myself in the situation where like I was meeting with these other small business owners, and they were always asking me questions beyond just like us helping them build a website. I was like, hey, we have this problem, we're trying to sell things online, or we can't manage inventory correctly, or we're having trouble with like booking jobs and routing jobs. And then next thing I know, I kept getting involved more and more into the space with contractors doing exactly that. And so those conversations and everything kind of full circle evolved into the marketing aspect. And while I was doing that, I was working on a different company. So this was all like a side hustle up until April 1st of last year. I was working on another company that was like a financial technology app that competed with like Venmo and Cash App and all those things. That we did a ton of marketing with like going after kids in college and those things to try to sign up on our platform. And so that's like really where I got involved in the marketing space. And I was like, holy crap, there's a world that I didn't even realize that was here. And so when that business closed down, I was kind of decided what I was going to do next. And the only thing that really kept me up at night and that I loved doing was working with contractors and all that stuff. And so I kind of took what I learned from that business and what I had been doing as a side hustle, merged those into one. And that's where I went out on my own and launched the agency. So.
Uh, what uh, what are the few things that excite you most about marketing?
Yeah. The to me, the biggest thing about it is being able to walk a user through a journey. When I say walk, like and you're thinking of their mindset and everything. So when you have copy you're writing for a website, or you have ads you're running online for Facebook and everything, as you know, with your business growing, like not everything works the same. And so being able to like test those things and really get down to like the psychology in a way as to like why users convert on certain ads and certain copy, and those things, that's really what I love the most about it. And then on the flip side, I love the end result of you got all these companies. Like we're working with a company right now, they've never worked with a marketing agency. They've been 100% referral based business. And as you know, with the referral based business, your revenue can kind of go up and down throughout the months depending on how many referrals and everything you come through. And so now they're beginning to see some of the outputs of what we're doing. And so being able to work with these business owners and see exactly how this is affecting their life, they're not worried about revenue as much, and all of those different things is huge.
When you say walk the user down to the decision making process,
Yeah.
what I guess in your world, what is the end goal of that interaction?
Yeah. So it I'm going to kind of use your tagline in a way. It is to get leads, do biz, and get paid, right? And so for us, it is about how can we get these users converted as quickly as possible, but get the right users converted as quickly as possible. So as an example, we're going to use your company, Deck Pros, as an example. When I look at like your website and all of those things, all of like the imagery, the content, the copy, all of that on your site shows homes that in here in St. Louis are probably in the ballpark range of 400,000 to 600,000 is what the cost of that home is. And
Right.
so when we're doing things, we're sitting there and walking through even just the aspect of those things, like putting those images on your site, allow people who have a house less than that in that amount to subconsciously disqualify themselves from purchasing with you because they know that the type of clientele you work with without even explicitly putting it in the copy of, hey, we only work with people whose homes are between, value between this amount. Um, and so a lot of it is walking through what are our users going to think? What are they going to click on? And how can we write copy in a way that's going to get them to convert the quickest? And if they convert or when they convert, how are we only converting the right users? And you as a business owner aren't getting a bunch of shit leads, I'm going to say, of people who aren't in your ideal clients.
Yeah, so talk to me a little bit about the ideal client. What does that look like for you as a marketer?
Yeah. So for us, like if I had a company coming and asking to work with us, like what are the ideal characteristics that we look for?
No, like when you work with the client and they don't know what their ideal clientele is,
Yeah.
like how would you figure that out? What is criteria you look for?
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you, I guess, are you looking at more of a service base or income base or humor me?
Yeah. So it varies based off the client and the industry. You and I both know Adam McChesney, so I actually took this exercise from him that we now implement with our clients. But we walk through kind of like what are your ideal best 10 clients and what are your best like last 10 clients. And so we walk through that exercise. And what that involves is we're walking through that with our clients. It's things like, hey, if you have these certain service areas, which ones do you want to work with? Which ones do you not want to work with? I'm in St. Louis. It's a very broad metro area. And so, like, if we're working with somebody in St. Louis, if they tell us, like, hey, we only want clients in Ladue, Chesterfield, Wentzville, like those types of areas, we know based off of those areas what the price point in which the house is and kind of the rough income level in terms of like what people are like with the ideal client they have. So we talk through those things. We talk through like the different service offerings they have because that ideal client persona may alter a little bit just based off of the persona or the actual service that they're offering. So those are some of the things we'll work with. And then a lot of things we'll also talk through is like, who is the type of homeowner you want to work with? Like, if you don't want to work with a homeowner that bitches about everything and they've been through so many contractors and those things, like those are things that we try to have conversations about. As an example, we had one client that they are a female-based um, roofing company, and a lot of what people love about them is that because it is a female-owned roofing company, a lot of female homeowners love to work with them. And so that was a connection we were able to make and write a lot of copy towards people who are looking for a female-owned roofing company or don't even realize they're looking for it. But when they go and click on the website, it's like, oh, yes, I would love to work with this company because of that, not because of XYZ.
Mm, interesting. Uh, so um, s- so say you got your ideal clientele on
Hmm.
already, and now what's the next step in your process of getting the messaging out?
Yeah. So it varies on where we're on the process. Like if we're walking through this exercise and we're building a website for a client as an example, that's where we then begin developing out the copy. We do like a copy document where we walk through, it's black and white, there's no designs or anything like that. And we're walking through this copy with the client and asking them like some different questions around how they feel about this copy, what it means to them, and we're asking some of those emotional things to really try to drive what they think that they're reading in that copy. That helps us alter and kind of make some of those adjustments there. When it comes to like the actual copy for like an ongoing SEO campaign, as an example, What we do is we have like I'm going to call it an automated approval process. So once our team's done writing the copy for like a new blog post, or we're making some changes to the copy to like your meta title or keywords or anything along those lines, we will actually, when our team marks that as like pending approval in our project management system, that emails our client automatically. And it's like, hey, we need your approval for this blog post, XYZ. And you as a client can open up and look at that blog post and read through everything and then provide feedback to us. And so a lot of it for us is like having those ongoing conversations of like, hey, this blog post is great, but I would tweak things because our client doesn't think in this way, or our client thinks in this way instead. So you should make those adjustments to this blog post. And then over time, we refine and tune up as we continue to create more content for our clients.
So what would you say that is the biggest objection you get when you try to pitch your marketing services?
The you know you've probably worked with a ton of marketing agencies, talked with a bunch of marketing people. The biggest thing for people is like, hey, most marketing agencies say they can't guarantee results. They can't guarantee the outcome, all that stuff. Um, that's one of the biggest objections that we look at, or like, hey, we signed up for this agency. We were with them for 3 to 6 months and we don't even know what they did. And so a lot of our workflow and everything that we do is built around that transparency aspect. And so everything we do, anytime we complete a task, our clients get email automatically notifying them this task was complete. Any of the audits we do on like the keyword research, the analysis, all of that stuff, our clients get access to, and then we are meeting with them once monthly on top of there. So most agencies, you have like your monthly call that you have every single month, and then that's typically the most you hear from them. Our automated notifications help us remain in contact with our clients throughout the month until that monthly call. So we do things like that. And then we give our clients access to like the same tracking dashboards that we have access to see like what their rankings are, their clicks, their impressions, all of those things. And so we actually have a few clients that have agreed, like, hey, you can share my data. I don't care as long as it's not like to one of my competitors within like a 15-mile radius of me. And so we'll actually pull up like real live client results, walk through those and say, hey, here's a client that joined us in August of last year. Here's a client that joined us 4 months ago. And here's what that data looks like. And so that's how we're able to also, you asked, what are the objections? And I'm answering that. And then how do we overcome those objections as well?
So when I look at this marketing as a whole in the industry, whereas where I see the most success when people work with agency is when the owner actually do some of the branding and some of the necessary product development on their
Hmm.
end, because it's really easy to market a good company, right?
Yeah.
Good brand, good reputation, but it's really hard to market a shit product.
Yep.
So what do you think about that?
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I like to say, so your company, Deck Bros, you guys, in my opinion, you're a marketing company that happens to do decks. And so if the owner, as you said, is not behind all of that and isn't the one who's the driving force, then everything else is going to fall to pieces. You can always correct product, you can always correct service, like those types of things. But if you don't have a quality brand and something that people want to actually like talk about, then like it's not worth it. I see your posts all the time on Facebook. You're like, nice deck, bro, or big decks matter or whatever. And that's all part of like your marketing and your brand and everything. And people who follow you and follow what you guys do love that. And so it's also about how can you get the people who are in your ideal client and who would want to work with you the most to most resonate with your brand.
Right. So what are some of the advice that you would give contractors in terms of how do they uh, how do they incorporate accountability into the process when working with a marketing
Yeah.
agency? Because as a lot of these owners they would take they would throw money at the marketing problem, get some lead, then they can't sell, and then it's marketing agency fault, or they get some money, throw it at the problem, nothing's happening,
Yep.
but they're not getting reviews, they're not getting pictures up, they're not like where can we find that middle ground? What do the
Yeah.
contractor need to do when working with a marketing
Yeah.
agency?
So what I want to begin with is don't think that a marketing agency is going to solve all your issues.
Mhm.
Because they aren't. And we are fortunate now to be in a position where in a way we can kind of like cherry pick the clients we work with because, not every client is the ideal client for us. But one of the things that I always tell people is you have to have the basics and the foundations in place. So if you aren't doing things like things you can do as a contractor or business owner right now to make sure that you're set up for success when you work with an agency is you can make sure that you have like your analytics set up correctly using Google on your website. You can make sure that you are doing things like you already have a Google business profile set up and you're already looking at the metrics on there, like how many impressions you're getting to that profile, how many calls you're getting on your Google business profile, all those different things. Um, and then also looking at things like if if you don't have a CRM in which you're tracking things to the source, it is useless to work with an agency. I have people all the time that come to me, hey, I want to work with an agency. I want to work with an agency. Like I want you guys to do our marketing. I'm like, okay, what CRM do you guys use? And they're like, it's up here in my head, or we use Excel, or it's on a whiteboard in our office. Like you have to be able to have things in your CRM, drive it down to a source of, hey, this lead came from Facebook. This lead came from a referral. This lead came from Google, whatever that may be. Because then when it comes time that you're working with an agency, and you are already in the habit of doing those things, it makes those conversations of being transparent and accountable easier to have because you've already been doing the things you need to do. Otherwise, if you don't have any of that set up, you don't have analytics set up, none of that, an agency will come in and they'll say, hey, in the first 3 months, we were able to increase your impressions and your clicks by 3,000% or 300% or whatever that is. And it's like, well, no shit. Yeah, they can because you had no data beforehand. And so those are the things that I can say that people should be doing now if they aren't working with an agency to get themselves set up for success. The next thing that I would say is like once you're working with an agency, I would make sure that the agency you're working with has systems in place to make sure that there is transparency and accountability. So going through things like being willing to walk through their existing client results, being able to walk through your results and explain things in detail. So if they say like, oh yeah, you had a drop in impressions because of some algorithm update or something like that, that's not good enough. You need to be able to have conversations. And sometimes an algorithm update to Google is what causes that. But they need to be able to pinpoint and say, yes, because of this algorithm update or because of this, this is why your impressions dropped. But because your impressions dropped, look at this, your ratio in which your clicks actually convert increased, which means we're driving the right traffic because the traffic that is being driven to your site is actually converting. And that's what's most important. So,
So, so when I think about marketing, or a website or
mm-hmm,
marketing, SEO, pay ad, all that kind of stuff, like the main goal I'm looking for is conversion, the right conversion, right?
yep,
The be because otherwise, the nice website is to me is shit. Uh,
mm-hmm,
if you have the wrong conversion. Now, there's a lot of people out there that is on the camp of pre-qualifying this and that. I am the opposite. I want the least friction as possible on the top of the funnel. I want all the contact, all the leads,
yep,
uh, and then we will determine uh, on our lead handling capacity if we willing to take on those lead or not.
mm-hmm,
So too too many time what I've seen from the industry is, well, they don't have money, we shouldn't serve those clients. Well, my thing is like there's no buyer's school. People don't know how much shit costs, and
Mm-hmm.
oh, and educating people to a website is not enough. Educating people to a phone call is not enough.
Right.
Uh, I would rather show up, shake some hand, uh, educating people of how much things really cost,
Yep.
and then close people. And too many times where I see business owner, and especially in construction, where they don't have the sales ability to convert these people
Mm-hmm.
face to face, then all of a sudden, well, they're tire kickers, right? They're not. They're
They're
not.
not. Yep.
They're not tire kickers. They need a deck, and you do decks. They're in Omaha, and you do deck in Omaha. What more do you want?
Mm-hmm.
What more do you want, right? So you see
Yep.
where I'm coming from? Like
Yep.
they might have a $10,000 budget, but they don't know how much it costs. They don't know how much things cost.
Yeah.
So so then I think there's a missing element there and this will help marketing agency too, because like if you give them 10 lead, they can only close. If you give them 20 lead, they can only close one lead and say you sucked. But when you go back to all the lead, well, he wants a deck. He wants a deck. He wants a deck into patio. Like, why are you not converting these guys? Well, because I don't have time. Well,
Yep.
because they're not my client. Well, why are they not your client?
Yep.
Well, they're not your client because, oh, you say that this project is going to cost 20,000 based on some pictures or Google Earth measurement that you found. Like, where's the rapport building in that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I want to flip this upside on the head and see that, hey, it's not a lead problem. Most of the contractors that I know, they're suffering from what I call a sales problem.
Yep.
Would you agree?
Yeah, yeah, I would 100% agree. And to give you a real life example, we just lost a client. We were a couple months into their contract, and they were like, "Well, we don't need this anymore." They were a heavy referral based business. Referrals were kicking up. We don't need anymore. We're not seeing the results out of it. And then we dive deep into things and we're looking at things and the way we have things set up is on the back end, our software can tell us, hey, this lead came from Google Ads or this lead came from organic SEO or came from Facebook or whatever. But then on the forms where the customer fills out, I'm John Doe, here's my address, all that stuff. We give it where the customers can put in, hey, how did you find us? Did you find us via Facebook? Did a friend tell you about us? Did you find us on Google? And so we ran an export of all those leads and all the ones that said organic SEO, because that's all this client was. And then we cross-checked it with their CRM system. Out of 18 leads, 3 of them they had entered into their CRM. They didn't even know that there was 15 leads there because they were unread in their email and their inboxes, like that they hadn't even opened up the email to see that this lead came through. And so it's like, how do you expect yourself to grow as a business if you aren't being in touch with every single lead that comes through? And they may not close right now. And a lot of people think that, oh, we have to, like, in order to sell somebody or in order to convert somebody, we have to sell them on something, right? It may be that you meet with a lead, you realize they aren't an ideal fit. Maybe they don't have the budget. Maybe they can't afford you right now. And maybe all you do is give them some DIY tips, so some things they can do now to get them to where they need to be because their deck is falling apart. And rather than building a whole new deck, why don't you do these repairs? You can do them yourself. Let that get you through next year. And then let's talk next year and see if you're in a better position to be able to afford to pay for a deck. And when that time comes, here's going to be rough ballpark of the pricing. Here's going to be what's going to go into materials. Here's what's going to go into labor, all those things. You'd be shocked as to what happens because that's what I do. I talk with people. I get people who aren't in my ideal client all the time. They can't afford even a SEO plan for $600 a month, which, as you know, is dirt cheap. But I continue to educate them and educate them and educate them. And the next thing you know, those people who may have never even purchased from you, they're now referring people to you because you at least provide enough value to them that they're like, I trust these guys, and my friend is going to be somebody who's going to get great results out of this company.
So let's go back into the mindset, right? Being a go giver
Hmm.
rather than a go getter. A go getter is like, hey, this is my price. You think you're gonna buy at this price or not? Well, I think that's a little bit too much. You know, we're just gonna find other option, right? Whereas a go-getter is like price don't matter. You need a deck. You have some deck problem. We're gonna go. We happen to do deck. We're gonna go out to see if we can solve your problem. And the go-getter, well, if you want us to come out, it's $500, for the consultation fee, right? So right now you already, the relationship already framed around money.
Hmm.
It's already is price focused. It's not value focused, and I'm I'm a fan of fixing uh fixing the cost of the problem rather than putting a band-aid on it and
Yep.
getting a wins, right? So for example, it's like, okay, you don't have time. You don't have time to go sell. That's why you pre-qualify all these leads. You're only going out to the lead that agree to give you $500 or agree to even, or agree to your price over the phone, which is it does happen, but not frequently. So you're not you fixing the symptom,
Yep.
right? The symptom of you not having enough time, you're not having enough sales ability to convert these people, but you're not really fixing the problem.
Yep.
The problem is you probably need a sales guy or matter of fact, most guys need to get out of the field. You need a field manager so you can go sell, focus solely
Hmm.
on sell. Because if you have 40 hours a week to go do sales, you can run 3 appointment a day. Oh, work Saturday too. That's 18 appointment a day.
Yep.
18 appointment a day. You can go see people, right? And you can't, and if you can't close anybody, I mean, then you need sales training. And
Hmm.
most people they can't face rejection. I'm like, oh man, fuck them. Like, that high kicker anyway. You have no idea how many time I go out onto a lead. I had one company, I would not say who they are here in town, that their voicemail pretty much say, if you think that your job is gonna cost less than 10,000, don't even bother calling us, right? And and that is different than putting price on the website. That's two different things. That's just
Yeah.
telling people to fuck off, right? Um, and then I come out there, it's a repair that nobody wants, but it's actually a replacement because they need somebody to tell them that it needs to be replaced, and they ended up signing up for $30,000.
Hmm. Yep.
And there, there is places where people wouldn't go out, like trailer park, bad part of town, the hood. You go up there, and you know what? They ended up signing up for a $20,000 deck on a fucking 40,000 double wide. Why is that? Because they have buying power.
Yep. Yep.
So so when we make assumption about how about how much money people have based on where they live, is how much money people have based on based on where they live. First of all, based on the size of their job, it's all to me. All those just more roadblock for you. Like people think they're leaving breadcrumb behind, but they
Hmm.
actually leaving a whole sandwich out.
Yeah.
So I'm a firm believer in total addressable market
Yeah.
time, total addressable market. repair, repair, replacement, review, referrals.
Yep.
So, my ideal client, I don't care who they are, really. If they need a deck and I do decks, it's good enough for me.
Yep.
Like there's when people start doing these exercise, they think, "Well, my client make over 100,000 a month, a year." It don't matter because people in the trailer park still need a deck, and they
Yep.
will make payment on that deck
Yep.
because everybody deserve a good time. So we need to shift our thinking around like what exactly is the ideal client anyways. Like
Yeah.
are you even in the spot where you can pick and choose client?
Mm-hmm.
You might not even have the opportunity to do that yet. So what I always recommend when people starting out in their marketing journey is just go see every damn lead, man.
Yep.
What's gonna hurt? Like you have to be able to sell. You
Yep.
have to be able to convert. Otherwise, it does not matter what marketing agency you go to. They can get you lead, but if you can't convert them leads, if you can't
Mm-hmm.
flip a repair over to a replacement when you know they need a replacement, then sales training.
Yep.
The reason why marketing agency do good with me because I take all the lead, I input them in the CRM, and if they don't work out, they're gonna be put in another workflow that we're gonna do value add later,
Yep.
uh, and we're gonna do follow up later, and those are my lead. Those are my goal that I can mine later. Now, if you are the type of person that pre-qualify these people out, you know who's gonna convert them?
Yeah. Yeah. And I will say part of the reason why we do that is because not many people are like you, in which they have these workflows to be able to move people into journeys where they educate them and provide value and follow up. A lot of these companies, they're just like, you know what? If they aren't in this lead, like then we don't want them. But where this exercise also helps, and this is where I agree with your comment of like just go out and talk with every lead and see what works is some of that ideal client exercise is also about like where it is you want to talk to, like where in the metro you're going to talk to people. If it takes you 40 minutes to get from one side of town to another side of town to another, and you are going and seeing all of those leads in the same day, how many more appointments? It goes back to your comment about I don't have enough time. How many more of appointments could you do if you just spent $60 a month on a software that helps you plan your routes better? So that way, like you only book appointments in this side of town on this day or this morning of this day. You only book because then you can cram in how many more appointments. And so some of that, and this I guess where I jumped in like on our side is like it's not like here's your ideal client, go with it. Then we kind of pick and choose, like, okay, if you put this income requirement on them, like that's going to shelter out these people. So well, why don't we pick and choose some things? But that's because a lot of the people we work with, they don't know how to set up all of these journeys and customer workflows and all of those things.
Yeah, and I think the because I'm a marketer, I'm also a salesman, I'm also
Mm-hmm.
a client, I'm also a brand builder. So I see things from big pictures, and the thing that grind my gear the most is like this subset of contractor that think pre-qualifying is the answer for everything. And you know what? I've been in the game for over 4 years now. Those guys, they're still they're still doing the same shit 4 years later. They can't
Mm-hmm.
grow. You cannot expect to grow when you only go see when you only goes to see 20% of your lead.
Yep.
There no way, no amount of money, no amount of branding is gonna get you over that hump
Mm-hmm.
unless you fix your process, which is get out of field, get your ass into the truck, drive out, and oh my God, 15 appointment a week, and you ended up closing 3 deals of $80,000 each. That's 240 grand in a week.
Yeah.
Or say your average job site 25. That's 75 grand. in a week. 75 grand, take that time 40. How much that's a what, $3-4 million business right there. If
Mm-hmm.
only one guy is the owner, if he only does sales, a
Yep.
owner definitely sell $3 million.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think the important part is that's the owner doing sales. You then start losing income when you hire a salesperson, all that stuff. That's one part of it. But the owner can also not be doing as quick as possible. The owner has to get out of project management. They have to get out of fulfillment and doing the work, because if you're doing fulfillment, you're managing the workflow, then you can't be out there selling. And the most important job as the owner is to drive sales to the business. And in my, like, drive sales, market the business, and then obviously make sure that you're providing like the best customer service. If you can do those three and you can hire people that are the best deck builders in the world, the best project managers in the world or in your area, the business is going to grow beyond means that you can even imagine, as long as you as the owner can get out there and sell and not do anything else.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't think sales guy cost money, because it's only cost money if they sell
If
something.
they sell, right? Yep.
So you don't have the burden of the sales
True.
guy, and then you can fix pricing by raising your price, to cover the commission. So really, you're playing with monopoly money.
Yeah.
Really want to
But
think, it,
a
you
lot
know.
of people will try to hire a salesperson before they will try to hire a project manager or a field technician or anything along those lines. And for your business, that may be the right option. But it comes down to the people who do that typically have a sales problem, and they're thinking that just throwing money on hiring a salesperson is going to solve that problem, when really you got to figure out what is your sales problem first, fix that, and then bring on a salesperson.
So when I think about the journey of a company, uh, a journey of a construction company, first you gotta get out of the field, then sales, and then when you learn sales, then marketing, and then the highest leverage is brand.
Mm-hmm.
But brand should be, you should always be working on your brand. So that's, the overarching theme that should always
Yep.
be working on since you start a business. And most of the time, man, like when I think about sales, is like people don't want to learn it. Like I fucking hate sales, but I
Yep.
have to learn it. I absolutely despise sales because it's a one-on-one interaction. It's very limited, and it's very time consuming. Marketing is better, or actually brand is better, because you're pooling many to one, but you
Mm-hmm.
can't get to marketing without learning sales,
Yep.
because if you learn sales and you know sales and you know the objection that you got in the sale, then marketing can address the objection and can talk and speak to the pain that
Yep.
people are experiencing, and then the brand is going to tie everything together. So to me, if the owner doesn't want to do sales, that's just not ready to be a business owner. You have to learn sales. You have, because think about it from your perspective. You can only give them leads. You can only give them conversion.
Mm-hmm.
It's not your fault that they don't have, they're not in the right budget range. Everybody want a fucking rich client.
Yep.
Everybody does.
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
so I don't mean to this the ideal clientele, but like you give that to 10 business owner, they all want high income in a affluent neighborhood,
Mm-hmm.
doctor, all this shit. I'm like, shit, I want that shit too, bro.
Yeah, you know what? This is, I appreciate it, because it helps us, because we, as a business, if you aren't always trying to improve your processes, your workflow, your customer experience, then like it's wrong. Like you should always be trying to level up. And so as you were talking, I wrote down like revamp this process, because like one of the things, the simplest thing we can do is say, okay, this is where you want to go. Like these are your 10 clients you want to be at, but reality is here. So let's work on an action plan, on, rather than us saying like, okay, let's go with this, one of the things we should be doing as an agency is working with these people to then develop out those workflows that you have. Like we don't do that. And so it's like, how can we develop that plan with them to then help build out those processes? And so that's something that I took as a note here is like, hey, we need to go back to the drawing board and revamp that process. Because what does it do for us? It improves the results that we are giving our clients. And if we're giving our clients better results, that improves referrals, that improves results, and that improves the revenue that we'll then get out of the new customers we get out of all that. So,
Yeah, I think it's hard for marketing agency in this day and age to try to work with an owner that had no will to improve, no
hmm
will to implement, no no will. Like, to me, even if you're in the field, I started out in the field. You can run appointment on Saturday. Everybody home on Saturday. You can run
yep,
appointment at nighttime. Oh, tough luck, bro.
yep,
Like, run a business.
yep,
So I mean, that's what you got to do.
yeah,
And for most of the guy in the who you serve, guys are under 3 million.
yeah. Anybody from about 750K to 3.5 mil is
Most
us.
of these guys just need one deal a week. You can't tell me
Exactly.
that you can't run 5 appointment, one a day, and close one people.
Yeah.
There absolutely no reason why you can't close one deal a week.
hmm
Absolutely asinine if that's the excuse that they give you, because you can run 5 appointment a day. And you
Yep.
know what? Some of the time where people pick up the phone and try to ask them 100 questions, pre-qualified them, you could have run the damn appointment.
hmm
You could have go and shake some hand, and
Yep.
you could close the job right there, because nothing beat the face to face. I don't care how good you are on the phone. I used to be a cold caller. I closed deal over the phone all day long. But that doesn't beat the, hey, how you do
Yep.
it.
Yep.
You know, hey, that's a nice Husker side you got there. You Husker fan? Good.
hmm
That's already put you on top of the hierarchy of who they're gonna hire, because they're not gonna call one guy. They're gonna call three, four, five, six guy. And if you don't give them something to think about other than price, then they're gonna think on price and how you sell.
Yep.
Uh, how you sell without knowing how to sell is you discount, and then your profit margin's fucked up. You're not making enough money, so it's this endless cycle, right? Instead of
hmm
learning how to convert at the right price, right? uh i I get so passionate about this because I know people can do better.
Yeah.
I know the money is out there, and I know that I can if I can do it, if I can convert the people. Like, there's so many appointments where they say, "Well, that's a little bit too much out of our budget. I don't think we're gonna be able to afford that." You know what? How about I just send a rep out there? We're gonna educate them on how much of this really costs, and at,
Yep.
at the end of the day, if you don't agree with our pricing or the investment,
Yeah.
uh, then we'll just give you a high five, and ride you up to the next contractor. And most of them, we convert those leads.
hmm
Those are the leads that people throw away.
Yep.
Oh,
Well,
the
and that's something like one of my taglines that I say all the time is like, I'm probably the crappiest salesperson you ever meet. And I say that to people. I'm like, because I just want to have a conversation and give value to you. If we get to the end of this and you decide it's a no, then it's a no, and we move on. And I always tell people, just give me a yes or a no, because yes, we will continue to follow up and see what you need and all that stuff until you give us that yes or that no. But it's all about like, how can I get out there and just give them value first? And so I hop on calls all the time. I'm like, hey, I got 15 minutes, me in the marketing space. I agree with the face to face, but a lot of times, I work with people all over in Maine, Ohio, whatever. And so it's easier to hop on Zoom and, fly or drive, whatever. But it's like, let's just hop on a call for 15 minutes on Zoom. Let's just say, hey, here's who I am. Here's what we do. And here's what you do. What are the problems you're going through? Can we help? Can we not? If we can't, no big deal. It was 15 minutes to say hi, bye. If we can, great. Then we move on to the next, the next phase of the process. And you mentioned about like people being afraid to sell and everything. It's like you, you know this, and people listening probably can tell a little bit, but I'm somebody who I have a stutter. And so for me, I couldn't even go through a fucking McDonald's drive-through before and order a cheeseburger because of what I was going through with my speech and disfluency. I'm on here on a podcast. I hop on sales calls every single day. I hop on client calls every single day. The problem is not you don't have enough sales, or you don't want it. The problem is you don't have the confidence or the belief and the ability to go like do what you need to do to close the business and get more deals for your company. Because ultimately, as business owners, we opened our businesses for one thing, and that was to create a lifestyle that worked for us. You won't get there overnight. You will eventually. And you were talking about like, oh, you got to go do an appointment in the evenings or go do an appointment on the weekends. Like, yeah, does that suck? I took a call. A lot of my team's international in the Philippines. I had to hire somebody. So I had an interview with him at 8 p.m. on Monday night, our time. That was 9 a.m. in the Philippines. Well, what did I do? Because I did an hour interview on Monday night. I took an extra hour in the morning on Tuesday morning to go hit the gym, do a few extra things for myself around the house because I own the damn business and I'm able to do that. And yeah, did it suck to do a call in the evening? Sure. But because I did that, I have the flexibility to go do things. So if you go do a Saturday when people are home and you run appointments all day on a Saturday, if you do the least amount of sales on a Tuesday, then take freaking Tuesdays off and give yourself a day off. Like do what's best for the business until you can hire a salesperson to buy back your time. But until then, make it work and make adjustments to fit it, and everything will work out.
Yeah, we are on a hiring spree right now, and I think I'm about to hire another person. Would be my ninth hire this year.
Congrats.
But rolling back to what you talk about, like you own, like most people don't realize that, like especially guys that are under 3 million, they don't really have a business. They have a glorified job, right? And especially if you still worry about construction, what's happening in the field. I haven't seen a job site in forever. Yeah, if you had still worry about that, then you don't have time to make money. That's
Yep.
just it, you know. So what I always tell guy is you have to be able to fit in the appointment somewhere, sometime. And then the easiest thing to do, the most comfortable thing to do is go back and work on the job site. That's the
Mm-hmm.
easiest thing. That's the default for many guys and gal.
Yep.
Oh, I gotta go back onto the job site.
Yeah. I mean, I got into this industry building websites. That's the first thing I did. And it is easy for me to fall back and I see a request come through from a client of like, hey, we need this change or whatever. So I asked my team to not give me access to anything because it's so easy to fall back and doing that. So all of our clients, I don't have access to their site. I don't have access to any of that. And so if there's a problem, like my team has to take care of it, not me, because I have no clue how to get into their site. I have two people on our team who have the access to everything, like the parent access, and that's it. And so that's where it's important. Like also put those guidelines in place, empower your team to tell you no. My team knows to tell me no because I told them your job is kind of dependent on you telling me no because I need to grow this business. That is my number one job.
Right. All right, man. Any parting words for uh for the audience?
The only thing I would say is this is the best resource that anybody can read, no matter what phase of the business you're in. And it's a book called Buy Back Your Time by Dan Martell. So everything you and I just talked about of should we hire field technicians, should we do this, do that, that book will high level walk you through everything on what you need to do in order to grow your business. You walk through of like, this is what lights me up. This is what generates the most amount of revenue. This is what I hate doing. This is what costs me the most amount in terms of expenses. And that is what you offload. And so for anybody, I recommend reading that book because as you're going through this journey, of trying to figure out who you hire, if I should pay for a marketing agency, if I should pay out a commission on a salesperson, whatever that book is going to kind of be like your guiding principle, I'm going to say, on a lot of those things. So as we're talking, I just kept thinking about that book, and I'm like, at the end of this, I got to make sure that I drop that as a resource for everybody.
Yeah, that's a good book. I I haven't read it yet, but I know Dan Mattel, and the concept is pretty much how you elevate yourself.
Hmm.
Um, they always say delegate to elevate, right?
Yep.
So I'm gonna piggyback on that too, and then one of my last words to have is, if you are too busy working and not have time to think, not have time to run appointment, not have time to do the what I call revenue generating activity, and those can be marketing activity, yard side, whatever, handing out business card, writing content. Those can be sales activity, is conversion, taking order, and all those can be client success. You got to check in with your clients, send them gifts, make sure that they talk about you and bring you referrals. So all those things, it's not the steak, but it's the sizzle, right?
Hmm.
It's what you do before cooking the steak. You got to put pepper on,
Yep.
right? You got to put pepper on. You got to put a little oil on. You got to flip them. You got to put a little pepper on. So that's what I think. That's what marketing is. And then sales is, you got to actually cook the steak now. Is make sure it doesn't burn. Otherwise, you don't have the fucking steak.
Yep.
And then after that, you got to let the steak rest for 5 minutes. That's branding.
Hmm.
Otherwise, the steak's not going to be juicy. It's not going to give you the bite that 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 a good steak does. Otherwise, you can have a tough bite. That means a bad client experience, right? And when you have bad client experience, nobody's going to refer you. So, the analogy I like to give is, hey, think about cooking the steak. What you do before cooking the steak. What you do after cooking the steak, and the actual part of cooking the steak, that's production.
Yep.
That's production. Sales
Yep.
is just making sure that we get the steak into the pan.
Hmm.
Getting all this, getting the pan heat up to the right temperature and all that. So
Yep.
that's the analogy I like to give, is do the thing before and do the thing after. And when you marry those three things, you have a strong, sustainable brand.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. And that goes on one of the analogies in the book from Dan Martell. He talks about 80% done by somebody else is 100% awesome. And so what he talks about is doing 10% up front, doing the putting the seasoning on, all that stuff. Let your team do the next 80%, and then do the last 10% yourself if you need to. And that's like adding your little fluff on top and all those things. And so I would just add on that, is like 80% done by somebody else is 100% freaking awesome.
Yeah. All right, man. Hey, it's been nice. It's been fun. Wish you the best of luck,
Thank
man.
you. You as
Uh,
well.
uh, the clientele that you are serving, I think, you know, I think having a little bit of business building as a value add is gonna help
Yeah.
them a lot, and it's gonna in turn help you too, because like that these guys, to level up, they have to get out of the field. There's no
Mm-hmm.
ifs, buts and buts about it. They have to
Yep.
get out of the field one way or another.
Yep. Absolutely.
All right, man.
Awesome. Thank
All
you.
right. Bye.
Bye.
You know I'm a hustler, hustler. You know I'm a hustler.